The entire Psukei di Zimra come from Tanakh, except for the first part, which is Baruch She'amar, and the last part, which is Ishtabach. The body of the Psukei di Zimra all come from Tanakh. And almost all of the Mizmorim come from a section in Tanakh. Mizmor Shir is from Perek Lamed in Tehillim. The first half of Hodu is from Divrei Hayamim. The second half of Hodu is from Tehillim. Mizmor LeTodah comes from Tehillim Perek Kuf. Ashrei and the rest of the Hallelujahs are the last 6 Prakim in Sefer Tehillim. Vayivarech David, the first half is from Divrei Hayamim and the second half is from Nehemiah. Then you have the Shirat Hayam from Sefer Shemot Parshat Beshalach. But there's one part of the Tefillah in the Psukei di Zimra where the Psukim come from all over the place. And that's Yehi Chevod. You have Psukim from Tehillim, you have Pasuk from Mishle, Pasuk from Divrei Hayamim. It's all over the place. And altogether you have 18 Psukim. But if you look at the Psukim very closely, there's one verse in Yehi Chevod that is not a real pasuk in the Tanakh, meaning it's comprised of 3 separate psukim into one pasuk. And that's the famous pasuk of Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimloch L'olam V'ed. That God is king, God was king in the past, and God will be king in the future. And in the Sephardic communities, the tefillah of the Shlech Tzibur begins with Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach. Right before Baruch She'amar, the Shlech Tzibur, the Chazan, gets up and he proclaims Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimloch L'olam V'ed, and he begins the tefillah b'tzibur. But if you look at the pasuk, or the semi-pasuk, very closely, it seems to be out of order. Hashem Melech, God is present. Hashem Malach, God was king in the past. And Hashem Yimloch L'olam V'ed, that Hashem will be king in the future. And usually, the order goes from past, present, and future. It should be Hashem Malach, Hashem was king before. Hashem Melech, Hashem is king present. And Hashem Yimloch L'olam V'ed, that God will be king in the future. Why is it out of order? So I heard a beautiful idea from the book called Shirat David, where it explains that before we can continue with our tefillah, before we can get to the main parts of Psukei di Zimra, which are Ashrei and the Hallelujahs, and eventually getting to the Birkot of the Kriyat Shema and the Shemona Esrei, we must understand that Hashem Melech, that Hashem is presently the king. We need to acknowledge that He reigns the world. Not that He was the king before and now He's the king now, but now He's the king. We need to start from the starting point that God is king. And now we can move forward. God is king now. By the way, God was king before, and God will continue being the king forever. How important it is to begin our tefillah by acknowledging that Hashem is Melech, that Hashem is the king. And we say Modeh Ani Lefanecha in the morning, Melech Chai V'Kayam. He's the king that is everlasting. That He's currently the king. How important it is for us to understand that anything that happens in our lives, Hashem Melech, He is nonetheless the king. He was the king, and He will always be the king. Have a great day.